Throughout our handprint care work, one of the key things that we had to do was to source heritage seeds. So we asked the question, how can seed saving and seed sharing, mosuelo, help us to grow local food plants together in a sort of like a cooperative way in a heritage food garden? And here, as a starting point, seeds is one of the most important things to think about. And early agroecological practices included seed selection and sharing as a way to ensure that better crops were grown from year to year in village lands. And I had the misfortune in my garden to lose some heritage seeds because the chard was going to seed and I went away on a trip and the garden was cleaned up while I was away and I lost those seeds and I haven't been able to recover them. So thinking about seeds, the use of cuttings, as with Chimolia and Kovu, as an indigenous Swiss chard or cabbage, kale type of plant, the use of bulbs and tubers. It's really important to give a lot of attention to the seed and seed sharing, and the indigenous practices of seed sharing is important for tuning in around curriculum concerns, so that when you look at a food garden, you immediately think that is heritage seed. It's seed that has been brought through generation to generation through a process of mosuelo, where the seed has been preserved. And it's a heritage. In early Sotho farming, for instance, in those systems, prior to the spring planting, the household heads presented a selection of seeds intended for use in the forthcoming season. These were pooled, and the resulting mixture, called mosuelo, all participants in the ceremony were given a share of the communal grain that they then integrated with their seed for planting the next season. And of course, there were ways of putting herbs in, burning them to preserve the seeds for the coming season. So heritage seed diversity is a key area. And if you look at a modern maize in a field, they're all the same size, and they all have one or two cobs. They're often short and drought resistant, and this has come through many years of breeding and selection that wasn't only done by scientists as in the modern day, but in the past seed sharing would be for the early seeds that would produce food early on, the later seeds that would germinate, the plants that were drought resistant, the plants that could tolerate water. So there was a lot of depth wisdom, and you need to have discussions if you're going to do heritage food gardening around seed saving and intercropping solutions together. And of course you can look at the three sisters, the maize, the beans and the pumpkins. The maize getting the nitrogen from beans that have nitrifying nodules on their roots, and the pumpkin keeping out weeds. But a lot of the weeds are imifino that you want to keep because they are edible plants. So what I'm trying to convey to you here, I think, is how important it is to touch the past in our memories and to respect and see the ways of doing things so that we can feel the future flying on the wings of our imagination. We're not just thinking that today we've got it best, because in many situations the seed heritage diversity has been lost, and it's really important for people to have to control their seeds, to share their seeds with others, so that the ethical standards of food gardening include seed sharing as a key indigenous practice that we continue in our food gardening into the present day.